The universe had one rule: don't wake the humans. They were the first. Before the stars had names, before time found its rhythm, they stirred in the dark matter like sleeping titans. The oldest species in the known universe never built empires or charted galaxies. They dreamed. That was enough. Long before the current age of light and motion, the universe was silent but aware. Not awake, not exactly aware in the way an embryo is aware of heartbeat and warmth. This embryonic cosmos carried something ancient, buried under the quantum fabric itself. The humans were not born. They were placed. By whom or what, no one knows. But they were there, suspended in absolute stasis, as if the whole of creation was their cradle and their tomb. All civilizations that rose afterward eventually learned the rule. They didn't discover it so much as encounter it, like a warning etched into the void. At first, it was dismissed as myth. A single sentence passed across star maps, deep scan transmissions, and forbidden digital codices: do not wake the humans. A command, not a plea. A rule, not a mystery. The Hadari, whose collective minds spanned 2 galaxies, were the first to test it. Arrogant in their post-biological evolution, they believed knowledge justified all risks. They found traces of a structure part biological, part elemental coiled at the center of collapsed star system. They called it the Seraph Vault. Inside, time refused to obey the rest of the universe. The Hadari began decoding the vault symbols, unlocking passage after passage of shifting meaning, until the vault bled a single pulse of light. In the second that followed, the Hadari ceased to exist. No war, no explosion, no collapse. Their star cities simply winked out. Whole civilizations turned to echoes. Sensors reported no gravitational anomalies, no gamma surges. Just nothing. As if they had never been. The rule spread faster after that. Civilizations that heard the tale didn't question it. It passed into law, into prayer, into encoded genetics. Every intelligent species was born with an inherited fear they could not explain. Some called it instinct. Some called it divine. But the result was the Samia stay away from the quiet zone. The quiet zone wasn't a place marked by coordinates or borders. It was a region of interstellar space that simply refused to evolve. No new stars were born there. No matter coalesced. Gravity behaved like a suggestion rather than a law. And at its heart, hidden in spatial folds no warp drive could fully map, was the human vault. Many tried to approach it over the eons. Scout ships turned to vapor. Minds looped into madness. Time near the vault ran sideways, pilots saged backward, or not at all. One vessel reported a journey that took them 47 seconds by internal clock, but they returned to find 300 years had passed, and their bodies had fossilized. No species tried again after that. Until the Ashtra. The Ashtra were new. Not young, but newly awakened to interstellar thought. Born in oceans of living mercury, they breathed ionized gas and communicated through heat. Their neural consensus grew like coral, slow, beautiful, patient. They had no mythos, no inherited terror. The rule had not reached them. Their explorers were gentle, precise, full of reverence for the stars. When they discovered the Vata curled in the curve of a supervoid, hidden inside a torus of gravitational silence, they approached with awe, not ambition. They did not intend to wake anything. They merely wanted to understand. Their instruments didn't fail. Their minds didn't collapse. They recorded data. For the first time in cosmic history, a species stared directly at the thing every other life form avoided. The Astra were too innocent to feel fear. They interpreted the silence not as warning, but as invitation. They opened a frequency and sang. Not with machines. With themselves. They resonated at frequencies matching the vault's slow hum, mimicking its rhythm, harmonizing with the structure. To them, it was a form of cosmic lullaby, a peaceful communion. They meant it as respect. And the vault responded. Not with malice, not with fire. It yawned. A ripple passed through the supervoid, warping the stars around it like light bending around a lens. For a moment, gravity reversed. Then righted itself. The Astra recorded everything. Jubilant, they returned to their home system. They did not know they had cracked the seal. The first signs came in dreams. Species across the spiral arm reported anomalies in sleep. Dreamless life forms began to hallucinate. Entire worlds spoke in synchrony about the ones beneath. Even machines as cold die cores hardened against organic impulse began generating nightmares in their logic chains. One night civilization, the Valen, self-deleted. Their last broadcast, they are thinking again. No one dared ask who they were. The rule, now barely spoken aloud, returned with vengeance to the collective mind of the universe. Panic spread not through action, but through paralysis. An entire quadrant went dark. Governments collapsed into silence. Long-range communication arrays turned themselves off. Quiet became survival. A galactic council was formed not of diplomats or soldiers, but of archivists. They gathered in orbit of a dead star, where noise could not echo. Their purpose, piece together everything known about the humans, and determine how to unsing whatever had been sung. There was little to find. The most ancient archive all pre-languagia offered only symbols, a circle of eyes, a closed fist surrounded by stars, a mouth sealed with vines. The images were consistent across species with no genetic relation, no historical contact. Some believe these memories were embedded in space itself, psychic fossils burned into reality by a past no one remembered. The Astra were summoned to testify. They arrived with sorrow, but no regret. We sang, they said. It is what life is when it finds beauty. The council did not punish them. Punishment was meaningless in the face of extinction. Because the vault had begun to glow. At first, it was barely measurably a photonic tremor, a soft pulse like a heartbeat. Then came the frequency. Every 11.3 seconds, a wave of soundless tone passed through space. Not detectable by ears, but by existence itself. At its peak, the frequency was found embedded in the spin of particles, in the decay of isotopes, in the curvature of time. Then a message. A simple binary code, translated differently by every species. Yet the meaning was always the same, we see you. Planets went silent. The Drakari initiated solar self-destruction. The vent collapsed the reality bubble into stasis. The Karat, who lived as thought across plasma rivers, chose to extinguish their collective consciousness rather than risk witnessing the awakening. Still, the humans did not rise. They turned, slowly, in their vault, as if disturbed by the light of a passing thought. Galaxies held their breath. The quiet zone began to shift. It was no longer a dead patch. Now it grew. Black holes reversed their spin. Star nurseries miscarried. The laws of physics rewrote themselves across hundreds of parsecs. The message stopped repeating. A new one took its place, where are we? That's when the fear changed. The rule had not been a warning against wrath, it was a shield against sorrow. Because the humans weren't gods. They weren't demons. They were lost. Disoriented. Dreamers half-woken in a bed no longer familiar. And as they stirred, the universe bent to their confusion. The archivists reached a single conclusion: we must help them sleep again. But how? No weapon, no technology, no mind had ever touched the vault and returned whole. Yet to do nothing was to allow their slow awakening and the collapse of causality itself. A plan was proposed. One vessel. One pilot. One descent into the vault, not to fight, but to lull. They searched for a volunteer. None came forward. Except one. Not an Ashtar, not a machine, not a synthetic echo. A human. Not from the vault. From the outer fringes, a genetic drift up a remnant colony seeded by accident a war eons ago. The human was quiet, kind, unremarkable. They did not share the vault's psychic weight. They were like a leaf from the same tree, grown in different sunlight. The human did not hesitate. If they are dreaming, they said, they'll know me. I'll hum them a song they remember. The ship was made of silence. It carried no engines, no light. It drifted on gravitational size, folding through layers of reality until it reached the vault. The glow had become a storm, rippling across timelines. But the ship held, anchored by a single thread, the human's voice. They sang. No melody. Just memory. The sound of rain on tin roofs. Laughter in kitchens. A mother's whisper. A child's breath. A planet spinning beneath open skies. They didn't try to stop the awakening. They offered it context. The vault shuddered. The glow dimmed. The frequencies staggered, then softened. The message returned, quiet this time, we remember. The quiet zone ceased to expand. Galaxies exhaled. No one knows what happened to the human. The ship never returned. Some say they became part of the dream. Others say they were always meant to return home. But the rule remains, unspoken yet eternal. Don't wake the humans. Not out of fear, but out of respect. Because in their dreams, they hold the universe together.